Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about the skin around our eyes, the skin on our necks, and the skin on the backs of our hands. If you are over the age of 40, or actually if you're over the age of 35, you've probably noticed that those areas tend to kind of age the fastest or kind of reveal our age the most. And because of that, I have been obsessing over those areas a little bit here recently, mainly my neck, because I've noticed that my neck seems to have started to age a lot quicker than it has in the last 44 years. So whenever I start obsessing over something, I really kind of go into mad research scientist mode, because I feel like unless I know the root cause of something, I really don't know how to address it. So that's what this video is going to be about. It's basically going to be about why those areas tend to age faster than other areas of our skin, mainly our face and just the rest of our bodies, and then what we can do non-invasively to address those areas and kind of slow down the aging process. So I'm basically just going to be covering ingredients and products that we could add to our skincare routine in order to kind of slow down the process. So let's go ahead and jump in. Now, I do want to mention that I'm going to be filling my description box with a ton of product suggestions, and all of the suggestions are going to be products that I use currently or that I've been using for a while, and I purchase all of my products based on the ingredient list. So I've definitely done my research with these products. Now, some of them I would suggest using more for nighttime use, and I'm definitely going to put some notations, next to those products in my description box, so you'll know, because some products, and I base that basically on consistency and how well it wears under makeup. So if it doesn't wear that well under makeup, and most of us women wear makeup, then obviously I'm going to use it for nighttime. So anyways, don't forget to check out the description box. Okay, so there are basically 3 or 4 things that these 3 areas have in common, which cause them to basically age a little bit more rapidly. The first thing that all 3 of these areas have in common is they have fewer oil glands or fewer sebaceous glands. Wherever there are less hair follicles, typically there are less oil glands. Now, where there are less oil glands, the skin tends to lose and absorb and retain moisture differently. These areas actually absorb and retain moisture less effectively, and they happen to lose water and moisture more rapidly. And when that happens, it just leads to dehydrated, dry looking skin. Unfortunately, wrinkles tend to look deeper and are more noticeable where the skin is drier and more dehydrated. Okay, so the second thing that the areas of the eyes, neck, and backs of our hands have in common is that they all have a thinner dermis. Now, unfortunately, the majority of age-related changes occur in the dermis of our skin. I'm going to throw up a little visual aid right here so that you can see the anatomy of the skin, and you're going to see that the epidermis is on top, the dermis is in the middle, and it also takes up the largest portion of the skin anatomy, and then right underneath that is going to be the subcutaneous fat layer. Now, the dermis is where collagen and elastin and fibroblasts are contained in the skin. Unfortunately, as we age, our levels of collagen and elastin start to decline. As a matter of fact, we lose approximately 1% of collagen every year after the age of 20. Now, collagen is responsible for the strength and flexibility of our skin, whereas elastin is responsible for basically the elasticity of our skin, so that whenever the skin is stretched, the elastin kind of helps the skin to return to its original shape. So it stands to reason that if the dermis is naturally thinner in those areas, and if it continues to thin over time because levels of collagen and elastin start to decline, and it's not going to be providing the same level of structural support to the overlying epidermis as it would in other areas of the skin where the dermis did not start out thinner. The skin in those areas are going to be more weak and more fragile, and more than likely going to be more sensitive. So the last thing that all 3 of these areas have in common is that they start to lose subcutaneous fat a lot quicker than other areas of the face and body. So the subcutaneous fat layer that's right beneath the dermis tends to atrophy, and it atrophies a lot faster than it does in other areas. So that's when we start to see loss of volume. And unfortunately, it's volume that holds our skin up. I once had a lot of volume in my upper eye area, but since the dermis has become thinner, and the dermis makes up the largest portion of the skin anatomy, and because the subcutaneous fat has begun to atrophy, now the skin just kind of wants to hang down, sag down, look crepey and dried and dehydrated, and all those good things because I have less oil glands in those areas too. So that's what happens. Because we have less oil glands, because we have a thinner dermis and less subcutaneous fat in those areas as opposed to other areas of our face and body, those areas start to age the quickest. They start to look the most wrinkled, the most saggy, the most crepey. So how can we address that? Now, unfortunately, when it comes to subcutaneous fat, we really cannot address that with anything topically. The only thing that we can really do is resort to fillers or fat transfer or something like that. You can't even really try to put on weight to add volume back to those areas because there's really no guarantee that whatever weight you put on is going to go to the areas of the upper eyelids, neck, and backs of our hands. Chances of that happening are pretty slim. So there's really nothing that we can apply topically to address the issue of subcutaneous fat loss. But we can address collagen loss and moisture retention. So let's talk about those. Okay, so since these three areas tend to have less collagen, which results in a thinner dermis, then we need to really kind of reach for products and look for products that have ingredients that encourage collagen production. Now, the gold standard as far as products that are really supposed to help encourage collagen production are going to be your vitamin A derivatives, and those are going to be your Retin-As, your retinols, and your retinaldehydes. Vitamin A derivatives really help to encourage collagen production at a cellular level. However, because the skin is thinner in those areas and because it's quite possibly more sensitive, more than likely more sensitive, I think that most of us can attest to the fact that our eye area and our necks are a lot more sensitive than the skin on our face. So because of that, we need to use products that contain vitamin A derivatives in lower concentrations. Unless you're going to be using a retinaldehyde, I feel like retinaldehydes are really good for anybody with sensitive skin. Even if you have rosacea, retinaldehyde is a really, really good option. That's why I really like the Osmosis skincare line, because they carry products with retinaldehyde. Like I said, I'm going to be putting a lot of product suggestions in my description box, so please don't forget to check that out. But simply keeping vitamin A derivatives in your skincare routine is really going to help with the collagen production and the issue of the thinning dermis. The next ingredient that you will definitely want to include as part of your skincare routine is going to be vitamin C. Not only does vitamin C help to encourage collagen production, it is also an antioxidant. So it helps to protect the collagen that we already have, and it also helps to fight free radicals. And free radicals are responsible for all sorts of skin damage and skin deterioration. Another couple of ingredients that you're definitely going to want to include are epidermal growth factor and peptides. Both help send signals to our cells to stimulate skin growth. Epidermal growth factor is actually a vital protein in fibroblasts that encourage cells to produce more collagen. So definitely want to include epidermal growth factor and peptides in your skincare routine. And then of course you do not want to forget antioxidants, and there are so many antioxidants, it's not even funny. Include as many as you can because, like I said, they really help to fight free radicals, but they also help to protect the collagen that we already have. Okay, so how are we going to address the issue of moisture retention? Like I said earlier, these three areas tend to lose moisture a lot more rapidly and tend to absorb and retain moisture less effectively. So this is how I address it. What I've been doing most recently is the first thing that I do is I put on whatever eye, neck, and hand cream that is my kind of flavor of the month, that I really want to go in and do, some sort of repair and skin rejuvenation. After that, I let it sit for, 10 or 15 minutes, let it kind of soak in. And then I will go in with a skincare product that includes a lot of emollients and humectants and occlusive agents, most importantly, occlusive agents. My favorite right now is the CeraVe Healing Ointment, because not only is it incredibly occlusive, so it doesn't allow for any transepidermal water loss, but it also includes ceramides and hyaluronic acid and cholesterol and just a lot of ingredients that are really supposed to help repair the skin barrier so that it's effective at locking moisture in. So that is what I do at night. I take some of that, and it's the consistency of basically Vaseline. You can also use Vaseline. I also like Nivea cream. The more thick and the more rich the product, the better for those areas. Because we have less oil glands in those areas, there's not a tendency to clog pores and break out. So what I do is I'll take some of that ointment and I will just pat it all over my eye area, all over my neck, especially concentrating on these little lines that have etched their way into my neck. And then I just douse, you know, my hands and my cuticles and everything else. So that is how I address the moisture loss. And obviously that is something that I do at nighttime. I'm not going to be doing that during the day because obviously if you put anything with the consistency of Vaseline on your eye area or, you know, your neck or even your hands, you're going to get it in your hair. Your makeup's not going to wear well over it. So these are more kind of things that I do at night in order to address the issue of water loss and moisture retention. So that concludes this video. I hope you found the information to be useful. Like I said, don't forget to check out my description box because I'm going to have a lot of product recommendations and a lot of little notations next to those product recommendations. So don't forget to check that out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already. I would love to have you here. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and I will see you next week.